The city had learned to breathe again. After the blackout, after the quiet panic, after systems stalled and restarted, things looked normal on the surface. Lights worked, trains ran, people complained about coffee prices instead of power grids. Normal always returned first. Eli didn't trust normal. He stood on the pedestrian bridge just before dawn, the river below reflecting a sky that hadn't decided what it wanted to be yet. Gray, blue, almost gold. Lena leaned beside him, hands tucked into the pockets of her coat. "You've been quiet all morning," she said. "I'm listening," Eli replied. She smiled. "To what?" "That's the problem," he said. "I'm not sure yet." Since the blackout, something had changed, not in the city systems, but in the space between them. Eli didn't feel the pressure he'd learned to recognize. No warning patterns, no cascading delays. Instead, there was a pause, the kind that comes before a decision. Eli had spent most of his life believing comebacks were loud, big reversals, sudden triumphs. He was starting to understand they usually arrived quietly, almost shy, like they weren't sure they were allowed to exist yet. Later that day, the city proved him right. It started with small things, transit delays that corrected themselves too cleanly, traffic reroutes that didn't follow logic, data that looked stable but felt rehearsed, not broken, prepared. Eli pulled up archived city schematics at his kitchen table, steam rising from two untouched mugs of tea. Lena sat across from him, watching his face more than the screen. "This isn't a failure," he said slowly. "It's a cover." "For what?" she asked. "For something that doesn't want to be noticed until it's too late." The system wasn't collapsing. It was being rewritten. Old redundancies quietly overridden. Manual fail-safes phased out. Decision-making compressed into fewer and fewer automated checkpoints. Efficiency, on paper. Fragility, in reality. If it completed, the city wouldn't fail dramatically. It would lose the ability to recover. One bad event, one delayed response, one moment where no human could step in, no comeback. "That's why it feels wrong," Lena said, "because if it breaks, no one gets a second chance." Eli nodded, and that's when it hit him. The greatest comeback isn't after failure. It's before it becomes irreversible. The core override was scheduled for midnight, buried under routine updates, approved by committees who trusted numbers more than intuition. If Eli intervened now, he'd be undoing months of work by people who didn't think they needed saving. If he was wrong, he'd be labeled paranoid, obsolete, the retired engineer who couldn't let go. If he was right and hesitated, the city would lose its ability to respond when it mattered most. Lena reached across the table and closed his laptop. "Hey," she said gently, "look at me." He did. "You don't have to prove anything," she said. "Not to them, not to the city." "I know," Eli said. She paused. "But you do have to decide who you are when it counts." That was the moment, the quiet hinge the whole story turned on. Not fear, not pressure, choice. Eli accessed the system through an old maintenance channel no one had touched in years. It wasn't dramatic, no alarms, no countdown clock, just layers of logic stacked on assumptions. He didn't fight the system. He rewrote it to remember humans. Manual overrides restored. Decision windows widened. Fail-safes slowed just enough to allow intervention. He didn't aim for perfection. He aimed for resilience. Halfway through, doubt crept in. What if the city never notices? What if no one thanks you? What if this is the last time you're relevant? Then he thought of Lena, sitting alone at the table, trusting him not because he was flawless, but because he showed up when things mattered. He finished the work, The system accepted it. Midnight came and went. Nothing happened, which was the point. The next morning, the city woke up unaware it had just been given its future back. Eli stood on the bridge again that evening. This time, Lena stood closer, their shoulders touching. "So," she said, "did the world end?" He smiled. "Not today." She exhaled, relieved. "Good. I had plans." He laughed quietly. The greatest comeback wasn't applause. It wasn't recognition. It wasn't even a victory. It was standing there, choosing connection over isolation, action over waiting, belief over doubt. Lena slipped her hand into his. Eli didn't pull away. He didn't wonder if he deserved this moment. He accepted it, because some comebacks don't announce themselves. They arrive as calm, as trust, as love that stays. And when they do, they're already just ahead. The victories follow for more.